Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute, so if you could take your seats, I'd appreciate it. I'm Matt O'Connor. I'm the Interim Dean of the School of Business. Just have a few opening remarks, mainly thank yous, and I'm going to turn the program over to Chris Ball to introduce today's speaker. So first of all, I want to thank David, Director, and Connecticut Lighting there, the sponsor of the Dean's Distinguished Speaker Series. Unfortunately, David couldn't be with us today, but we do want to extend our appreciation to him. We also have in the audience a number of distinguished guests, friends of the university and people that Professor Chris Ball has invited today, so we want to extend our welcome to them and thank you for coming to our speaker today. I also want to thank the faculty who have graciously brought students here and helped support the Dean's Distinguished Speakers Series. We're very appreciative of that. Most of all, though, I want to thank all of the students who are here. I think you're going to find this a very enjoyable and very educational hour of your time. It's going to be a time well spent. Please don't be shy when it comes to the Q&A period. There's going to be plenty of time for you to ask questions, so we want you to participate fully in the Q&A part of today's program. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Chris Ball, the Istvan Széchenyi Professor of International Economics.
So a first order of business that was mentioned to me, please, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or put it on silence at the very least. So take a moment to do that. Thank you. As a quick point of order, I'll say just a word or two to introduce our speaker. Then he'll, of course, speak. And we'll follow that with question and answer period. He will probably talk around 30 minutes. And at the end, I'll stand up and help moderate the discussion a little bit. At the sides of the rooms, I've been told that we've got microphones. So if you could use one of those microphones when we get down to the question and answer period. And you may also need to check to be sure that it's on and talk into it like I'm not doing. First, let me say how delightful it is to see such a full room today. Thank you all for coming. It is an honor to have Mr. Konrad Kreuzer on our campus with us. And of course, I know that the topics of energy and geopolitics are always of interest to everyone. So I warmly welcome you as well, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. Let me thank a few of the people in the School of Business who really helped make this a very successful day. Dean Matt O'Connor, Melinda Formica, our MBA Director Kim McKeague, and all the professors, again, who encouraged their students to come today, and many of the professors who are attending themselves. Of course, many thanks also to the staff who really make things run right, to Nona, Jen, Leslie, Gina, and our two special students, Shannon Block and Blanca Bolage, for being a big part of this. It is no coincidence, by the way, that we are in the grand courtroom. While a prominent business leader today, Mr. Kreuzer, born and raised in West Germany, got his start after graduating from the University of Munich in law and management. He began in Bavarian public administration. He was head of public law and property departments, then director of legal affairs, and eventually managing director of EuroBayernwerk. In 1997, Bayernwerk founded Bayernwerk Hungaria, the legal predecessor of E.ON Hungaria. Mr. Kreuzer took over as chairman of the board of directors in 1997. A merger then in Germany, and then in 2000 created the new Munich-based company E.ON Energie, the largest privately owned energy supplier in Europe. Under Mr. Kreuzer's management, E.ON Hungaria has become one of Hungary's 10 largest companies and has been top investor in Hungary since 2006. E.ON Energie Group provides nearly 2.5 million customers with electricity and supplies gas to over 500,000 customers in 15 counties. In addition, the group operates state-of-the-art, environmentally friendly power plants in Hungary. Mr. Kreuzer is one of the leading players in regional energy markets and brings us substantial insights into European and global political and economic issues both. Today, he is here to talk to us about the current global direction of global energy markets. It is certainly our honor to welcome Mr. Konrad Kreuzer, Chairman of E.ON Hungaria, to Quinnipiac University.
So, ladies and gentlemen, dear students, it's an unlimited pleasure for me to be here today and to speak to you. I didn't believe that I will ever be invited to this marvelous university in Connecticut, but sometimes there is the saying, you should not dream your life, you should live your dreams, and so one of my dreams I'm trying to live today. So thank you very much for your invitation. It's a great pleasure to speak about energy issues especially. You have created the necessary environment for this speech. It was snowy, it was cold, there is a lot of snow, there is a lot of ice, and what environment is better than this one to speak about energy? So thank you so much. Second, what I wanted to say is, when you make a speech and when you have a choice, either to speak in the morning time or to speak in the afternoon time, it's always a difficult choice. Because at, let's say, 11, if you're trying to make your speech, the people are getting hungry and want to have lunch. If you speak at 1 or 2 o'clock, the people had already lunch, they don't want to listen, they want to sleep. So I hope the speech is interesting for you enough not to sleep immediately. If you do it afterwards, it's great for me and good to see. First of all, I would like to introduce myself a little bit more personal, if you allow me. I am 60 years old, as you can easily see. I am born in Germany, as you have been told, and I am living for the time being not only in Hungary, but also in Slovakia. I am by profession a lawyer, and what is the best profession to be in the energy business? I am totally sure, and it's for you, to be a lawyer, you can be everywhere, even in the energy business, whatever the result of your activity will be. I am chairing E.ON Hungaria, and I am chairing E.ON Slovensko. And for me, this is a very special situation, because you know that both countries are historically connected in a certain way. Many Hungarians are living in Slovakia, and some Hungarians believe that this part is still belonging to them. Unfortunately, state-wise, this is not the case, but in the European Union, borders are gone, and therefore this kind of view is not anymore valid. I am living and working in Eastern Europe, and when we are speaking about energy, I also wanted to point out a little bit the Eastern Europe situation, because the Eastern Europe situation is a special one. If I remember correctly, then you had a government who was dividing Europe into old Europe and into new Europe, and Hungary and Slovakia belongs to the new Europe, and you know that we didn't like this differentiation too much, but at the end of the day, it is the truth. And it's therefore important for European policy and European energy policy, because these new countries, and as you are aware, 10 countries joined the European Union recently, and Hungary and Slovakia are part of Europe now. In Europe, we have 27 countries which we are going to unify more and more. And the policy and the energy policy done is mainly not in the countries themselves, but in Europe as the main decision maker. This means that the new countries as well are influencing the decision making in Europe very, very much. What I wanted to add also, before I really start with my presentation, is that I was totally surprised coming to this fabulous place that you have really a Széchenyi István chair. I couldn't believe it, but seemingly it's true. And for me, it's therefore so much important, because nobody expected such a great Hungarian statesman in this lovely Connecticut. And for me, it's also therefore so much important, because we would need Széchenyi István in the government of Hungary nowadays, maybe even more than this few decades ago. Unfortunately, we have a lack of statesmen everywhere, but also in Hungary, maybe also in Slovakia. When I was a student, I learned that professors never talk about what they should talk about. When I'm doing a speech at university, I try to keep this tradition, also I'm not a professor. But I got a very nice, beautiful assistant, and she will try to bring me through my written presentation, and I will deviate a little bit, but I'm totally sure you will manage it perfectly. So I try to keep my presentation, but I will not do everything what you can see on the chart, because the given 30 minutes are already over and I have to speed up. Speaking about Europe and speaking about Eastern Europe, I would like to mention the following. In 2009, we have a very, very special anniversary. The special anniversary is that the breakdown of the Iron Wall happened in 1989. And if this breakdown would not happen, then we could not speak from a Hungarian or a Slovakian perspective about Europe. So in this year, we are going to celebrate the freedom of this country, the liberation of the Soviet regime, and that's the reason why we can talk open, on the records, and even off the records if this is necessary. Who is nowadays not talking about energy? I think everybody is talking about energy. I am talking about, and I would like to talk about, European energy policy a little bit more, because please apologize, from the energy policy in this country I know too less to be able to talk about. But maybe you will see that the challenges ahead in Europe and the challenges ahead in your country are sometimes quite similar. There are many ways to describe the current situation. There are most probably not so many different ways to solve the occurring problems. Let me describe shortly my view. First, traditional energy resources are limited worldwide. If you may know, there are some figures in the world when we are talking about oil, when we are talking about coal, and when we are talking about gas reserves. I want to make it short, only 3 figures. It's always a question of calculation, but the calculation I use, then it means the following. Oil reserves are finished in 43 years. Gas reserves are finished in 60 years. Coal reserves are finished in 140 years. And the question is, what are we doing after? This is the one issue. The second is, global energy demand is growing. And there is a chart, go a little bit ahead. Yes, this one. And you can see that global demand grows by more than half over the next quarter of a century, with coal use rising most in absolute terms. So this is the second challenging issue. The third is, global competition for resources is growing. I don't know, and I don't want to speak about, only indicate that this will include the question of international relationships, and this will also include the question of international conflicts due of the competition for resources which are growing. Fourth, energy prices are increasing. And because I know that I had some very nice German-speaking and from Germany coming people, I took a German newspaper with me, and I wanted to read what is written in this German newspaper, but it's not from Germany. It's a report from the International Energy Agency in Paris. And the president is quoted with something quite interesting. And I would like to address you with this, meaning that the oil prices for the time being are quite low, again. But a few months ago, they were quite high. And everybody was complaining about the high oil prices and about the high gas prices in connection with the oil prices. What is the complaint of the president of the International Energy Agency? He is complaining, and I read even in American newspapers that also your president now is complaining about that, because the oil industry is not anymore investing into the business as they should, because of the low oil prices. Now, what does it mean? The forecast is that if this is not going to be changed, first of all, the demand will increase again after the economic crisis is behind of us. There are indications that the oil price will rocket up to $200 US dollar per barrel. But if we are not investing now into the capacity, then the demand cannot be fulfilled anymore. So the prices are going up again, and this would mean that the recession is coming back. He is forecasting for 2013, which means in 4 years from now, that the crisis in 2013 will be even more critical than today. I don't know if this is true. I'm not a forecaster, but I think the president of this agency knows what he is going to say. So energy prices are increasing again. And fifth, climate change. Everybody is talking about climate change today. And what is the forecast if nothing is going to happen? I'm quoting again the International Energy Agency, and the forecast is if nothing is going to happen, then end of the century, the temperature will increase by plus 6 Celsius. 6 Celsius. So what does it mean? It means a quite high temperature. And in Germany, let's say in Hamburg, it will be as warm as in Marrakesh. So Africa will be in Germany. This is the result. If this is going to happen, it will happen if nothing is going to be done. What are the consequences out of that? What can we do? What do we have to do if this is the basics? It means, first of all, enormous investments are obligatory in all fields of energy production or energy resources, economically and technology-wise, to avoid the CO2 threat to our planetary system. I know that there are also quite critical issues if it's really a threat, the CO2, or it's no threat. What we know and what we believe, it is a real threat. And we have to work on that issue very, very hard. You know, we have the Kyoto Protocol and we have discussions globally. Who is joining the Kyoto Protocol? The United States, yes or no, if and yes, etc. But at the end of the day, I think there is no real alternative to take it serious. And what does it mean for the energy sector? We know that the energy sector itself is not the only one who is contributing to this problem. It's also the other sectors. The energy sector is quoted as 40% of the problem. But 40% is a big issue. So what is the response? I can tell you what is the response in Europe. We have made in the European Union very, very serious and important decisions. One of the decisions, and the decisions are going on since the early 90s. We have energy package number 3, which says we need, first of all, in Europe, a competitive market, which is effective market and who can deal as a real market with the problems ahead. And we made, secondly, a few years ago, the so-called green package. So to talk about the green package in Winnipeg is a little bit curious, because I have learned that you are the green campus. So what should I talk about? I will try to do it from the European perspective. It means that we have to implement, and this is the headline, we have to implement an integrated climate and energy policy. And if you take the words seriously, then it's so far a novum, because in former times everybody always only spoke about energy and about energy policy. Nobody spoke about climate and energy, but it shows that there is a contribution from energy to this CO2 threat. And the third point they made recently, and they are on the way to do it, and in March they will decide about it, on a strategic energy plan. What does it mean? First of all, they call it energy for a changing world. I think this is a good term. But I also would like to add, it's not only what we have to do to make a new energy policy and to make an energy for a changing world, we also have to make a policy in an already changed world. We should not do that the world is changing, everything is changing permanently. The problem is that it has changed already. And if you allow me to go a little bit further, stop here, the pillars. And this program is based on 3 objectives. You can call it magic energy triangle. First of all, what is important? This is sustainability. What is important in addition is competitiveness. And the third point is security of supply. The core of the new energy policy is this green package, and there are 3 numbers. Go a little bit further. Yeah. The 3 numbers is 20, 20, 20. Today I learned that in Connecticut you have also this 20 issue, so far ahead. In Europe we are going to decide upon it. What does it mean in concrete? It means in concrete that there is a must in CO2 reduction by 20% till 2020. And you can add and see US and China and India. The European leaders say, if China, if the United States, and if India is going to join, then we will even increase our CO2 reduction to 30%. The second is renewables. The current figure, you can see 6.5. This means renewables participating in power generation by 6.5%. So it should get up to 20%, which is a quite ambitious target. And not to forget about the third pillar, which means energy efficiency. Also, a very low figure for the time being, getting it up to by 20% by 2020 is also a very, very ambitious target. But the meaning is there is no alternative. What does it mean in reality? What do we have to do, and what does it mean also for a company like the company I am working for? Because it's not the politics who is going to implement it, it's the companies, it's the people who have to do something. Let's go to the next chart. This is CO2 emissions, only where you can see how the sectors are participating and how the countries are participating in the CO2 emissions. And you can see the United States contribute a little bit more, understandable, than Europe, but it's a significant figure, and energy sector by 40%, as I have mentioned. Next chart. Yeah. So renewables. The renewables are an extremely important factor in this policy. You are doing a lot already at the campus, but most probably you have to do more if you want to apply to the rules. But as I have seen and I have listened, you are totally committed, you will go ahead. And for the world climate, I will thank you already now for your contribution. It's absolutely clear, and I think this is important, because there were discussions, and there are still discussions, that it is undeniable that the use of renewable energies contribute to the limiting climate change. And let's go ahead. This is only a statistic where you can see where renewables are already given and in what percentage. I do not want to insist too much on that. And that's it. Would you go please back? Energy landscape of 21st century. Going back to the beginning. No? No, we skip it. Okay. Then I will tell it only to you. What we say, and what is obvious, we need investments. We need investments not only in renewables, because we have an existing power generation park everywhere in the world. And these power plants are aging. We have to substitute these power plants. And the question is not to substitute, but the question is how to substitute. So meaning in what kind of technologies we are going to invest. And this is the problem per se. When we are talking about CO2, then it means we have to go for either CO2-free or CO2-reduced power generation. So the question of technology is a very, very important issue if we are going into this new world of energy. The question, for instance, is in what kind of technology we should invest, or what is the available technology for this kind of investments, or what has to be made available for this kind of investments. We are speaking about this CO2-free power generation, meaning that we have to separate the CO, especially in the coal-fired plants. We all know that we have to live for a long time with coal as a fuel for power generation. Even as we have seen, it's limited. But if we have to use coal, then it means we have to go into a technology which is able to separate CO2. This technology, for the time being, is not available yet. There are some pilot projects. Even E.ON is going to have some pilot projects. Nobody knows exactly when it would be fully available and we can really economically and professionally invest in that. But what we have to do, and this is a kind of must, we have to work on making this technology available. Only to say it sounds quite good, but the problems are complex. Because how does a power plant which is CO2 free, how does this power plant look like? What are the effects? So we need a storage where this CO2 separated goes in. Who wants to live on this storage? What are the environment people thinking about this technology? So for the first time, approaching the issue, it seems very, very easy. Once the technology is given, we have a CO2-free production. But there are some consequences we have to live with, and we have to try to make the people aware of it and to make the people comfortable with that as well. So I see, even in that respect, some problems which we are going to have. And if we are talking about CO2-free power generation, we have to talk about nuclear power. Nuclear power is one of the power generation which is totally CO2 free. But as you know, nuclear power is all the time in a very deep political discussion and also discussion society-wise. We totally believe that without nuclear power, we never will reach in any place of the world our CO2 targets. So, what is the consequence? The consequence is that we have to invest into new nuclear power plants as well. And coming from Germany, you know that we have a moratorium on nuclear power, so it's forbidden to invest into nuclear power stations for the time being. We are following the Sweden example. Sweden decided to go out of the nuclear power already decades ago, and unfortunately Germany followed. And we are not only prohibited to invest into new nuclear power in Germany, but we also have to close existing running power plants, which is a very, very stupid idea, but political issues have priority. Germany is not Europe, and Europe is not Germany, so in the other European countries, especially in the Central European countries, in East, it's a little bit more favorable for nuclear energy. It also means, because the security issue is a high priority, that we have to develop new technologies which are even more safer than the existing one to get the society comfortable with this nuclear power. And if we do so, meaning CO2-free coal power production and nuclear and renewables, then we are going into a quite interesting time. I have to finish. Chris, thank you so much. This is a very, very good signal, because if you don't stop me now, then I make a new speech. I would like to say in the last 5 minutes, and how are the companies going ahead? For us, it's an absolutely must to follow this policy. So this means we have to change our existing power generation portfolio. And we are on the way to change it already now. We have till now achieved already 1/3 reduction in our power generation portfolio, and we will have in 2020 most probably 50% CO2 free and 50% CO2 reduced. It's technology able to do it. It's only a question of price. The question is, who is paying for this high level technology? And this is one of the problems with the politics. It's easy to make a good policy, but it's very difficult to implement it on the one hand, and it's very difficult to make people convince that they have to pay for it. I would like to say at the end of the day something about gas, because gas and gas in power generation is also CO2 reduced power production, so means a good one. Gas in Europe is a special problem, because when we are talking, and we do it concerning the magic triangle, we are talking about security of supply. And as long as we are dependent of gas, and we are in Europe dependent of gas, then we have to think about how are we dealing with this dependency. And you know, Europe is mainly dependent on Russian gas. And the Russians are still playing with the gas because it's for them also a strategic issue, not only economical. And recently in Europe, we had this big gas crisis, and all the people were very much concerned if the security of supply is still given. Fortunately, the problem was solved before the houses became cold. But once they would get cold, the real problems would have arrived. So the question is how to get more independent of this gas supply, because gas supply, okay, is not only coming from Russia, but also coming from Africa and from Norway. But these sources are also going to be limited, and the main gas supplier in Europe is still the Russian Federation. We have to think also on additional gas sources. What is one of the potential? The potential gas source is LNG, means liquefied natural gas, which means we have to put the gas into tanker in Qatar or wherever in the Middle East, ship it through the sea and bring it to Europe. This means a lot of infrastructure, new infrastructure, which is not given yet, but which is a must. If we take the diversification serious, and according to the European policy, we do so, we have to go this way to get a more diversified gas supply and to get a higher security of supply in general. All this means money, money, money for investment. And the countries and the companies have to do. Concerning gas, my company is one of the big dealers with Russian gas. We have a very diversified portfolio. So we have gas from Africa, and we have gas from the Netherlands, and we have gas from Norway, but mainly we have gas from Russia. So in our understanding, and also in the understanding of Germany, the relationship to Russia, the good relationship to Russia, is essential. Because without Russian gas, we have a problem. And on the one side. On the other side, even we believe that sometimes the Russians are playing a game, they also depend on us. Because if we would not take their gas, they would have very, very bad revenues and a very negative impact on their own economy. So this also means that international relationships in energy has a very, very high priority. Coming to an end, because and coming to E.ON as a company, last but not least, we are again fully committed with this green paper and with this green package and with this new energy for a changing or changed world, and we let us measure. We take the new policy serious, and we included our company into the so-called Dow Jones Sustainability World and Stocks Sustainability Index. So which means that everybody can measure us, and even this kind of stock exchange can measure us if our policy is going in line with our promises. This is, I think, very important. I hope that this Dow Jones is not decreasing, but only increasing. And if this is the case, the reputation of our company in that respect will increase as well. I thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward for your questions.
We have microphones at each end of the room for people to ask some questions. If those of you sitting up here in the front have a question and you can't get out to a microphone, you're welcome to say it loudly and I can repeat it. But at this time, we'll take questions from the audience.
Hungarian is horrible. Hello, friend. Hello, cat. My mother taught me that. I have questions from my honors section and my sections from International Business 201. I'm Mark Lennon, visiting faculty. Take it away, guys.
Got a question from here?
Sam? Dan?
Ask an easy one.
Your first slide mentioned about the proposed efforts in coal. What efforts are in place to the source of coal?
Can you all hear the question? He mentioned coal, and the question is what can
Yeah, to clean up coal in power generation is a question of technology. There are on the way technologies where you can again separate CO2 in the burning procedure, and that's the way. And there are some pilot projects for the time being how it works. It's not fully available now, as I said already, but all the people who are working on that issue are very confident that in due time they will solve this cleaning process.
You said that gasoline was one of the challenges that is faced with energy in the future. If electric cars start to be part of the solution to that problem, do you see that being a too large strain on the current infrastructure in electricity? And how do you see companies handling the extra demand placed on them by electric cars?
Yeah, this is an interesting issue, because it shows, in my view, that nothing is one-dimensional. Yeah? So on the one hand, we are complaining about there is too much energy production capacity. There is not yet the technology available for clean production. At the same time, we are asking for electro cars, because electro cars are only able to fuel with energy produced. So the car itself is clean, but we have to look behind the car, how the energy which is going into the car is produced. This is the real question. So if we are on the way to go into a CO2 or a more CO2-free power production, then you can say not only the car is clean, but also the production is clean. But both has to be done. If both is not going to be done, it's only, let's say, you see only one side of the coin, and I think this is not the full picture. Yeah, I think this is a question. You see, if I understood correctly, you said how far we can increase energy prices to the consumers, and they are still prepared to pay the bill. I think this differs from country to country, and it's a question of the welfare situation of a country. So there is no general answer. You can answer it only, let's say, country by country, or even company by company. But the background of your question is, in my understanding, a very important one. Because we are all the time, and I believe worldwide, we are discussing energy prices. We are discussing gas prices, and we are discussing electricity prices. And for the consumers, the prices are always too high. And the question is, why is there such an intensive discussion on electricity, on gas prices? Where is there not as intensive discussion on mobile telephone prices or on other luxury goods? I have to frankly admit, I don't know. But I believe one of the reasons is that politics all the time in all the countries are always playing mainly politically with energy prices. They don't play with prices for TV stations or for cars or for whatever. But with energy prices, they play. And this is, in my understanding, it is and it was always a very, very tricky and a very bad game. Because prices everywhere, in every market, also in the energy market, have a function. And the function of the price is that it has to be in line with the value of the product. But I think there is no doubt that the value of energy and the importance of energy is very high. Because if we switch off the gas pipe and if we switch off the electricity line, the economy is down. So the value is given, And we see it only when a crisis is appearing. But we don't pay enough attention and we don't like the price as such. Politically, I would like to say, contaminated. And I will give you, let's say, a Hungarian example because of the István Széchenyi chair. I have to talk a little bit more about Hungary. We always had in Hungary, beginning our investment in 1995, problems with the energy prices. They were always too low. Our profit was very low. So we calculated what price increase do we need to get our investments and profit paid. And it was 1 forint. I cannot translate it into dollars. Maybe, Chris, you are able. I'm a lawyer by profession, so I cannot calculate, not at all. It's a very few. And then we have to say, okay, it's a social problem. We have to take care of the poor people. What does it mean, poor people? Poor people means that they are using 1,000 kilowatt hours per year. 1 forint per kilowatt hour means per year 1,000 forint, which means per month less than 100 forints. Now 300 forint is €1. So what we are talking about? Financially, we are talking about zero. Nobody would have a problem to pay 80 forint per month more. But even it is so, and even the poor people could afford it, politically it was unable to manage it. So we suffered a lot. And again, it's not only in Hungary, it's in all the countries I know. And this means we have to make publicly the people a little bit more aware about the value of electricity and gas, of energy. As long as we don't take it serious and as long as we don't accept the value, we will not come to a good end. And another point is, if we are talking about reserves, oil, gas, and coal, the reserves are belonging on the prices. So when the prices are high, you can discover much more oil, you can discover much more gas, and you can discover much more sources in that respect. So the price is very, very important for getting a more long-term, sustainable energy base for our planet. So we should not blame the price, we should not complain about it, we should see there is a function and we have to pay for. And the third point in that respect I would like to add is energy efficiency as also a resource. Because if we use less energy for the same target, we pay less. Or we could pay more, even we did not pay more at the end of the day. So energy saving and energy efficiency, in my understanding, is the most important energy source in general. And the question is, do we take it into account? And do we think about that even in our individual area? I think not really. But we have to be much more aware, and I think this energy efficiency issue, which is one of the pillars of the new European energy policy, is even more important than renewables. I do not want to speak against renewables, but the contribution, if we really use this factor, is great. And this is also a question of technology, because nowadays, and efficiency is not only saving electricity at home, switching off the light, etc., or buying cars which do not need 20 liters, but maybe only 3 or 1 liter, which are available. It also means efficiency of power production. There are power plants where the efficiency rate is by 58 or 60%. The normal old power plants have 30% efficiency. So this means in using that and burning fuel in such old plants is not only wasting money, is wasting resources. And we cannot afford anymore this waste management. we need an energy management and an energy efficiency management and not an energy waste management. But till now, we are wasting. So we all have to feel guilty. The problem, last but not least, the problem for an energy company is the following. Our business is to sell electricity and to sell gas. Our business is not to save. This is for sure true. The question is what initiatives and what incentives you can put in place that also energy companies have to be per se interested to save energy and to advise customers to do the same as well.
I think we have time for one short, two short,
I'm just wondering, you were talking about Hungary, you were obviously afraid
Because of you.
stuff, so I would be interested to see what kind of role the Hungarian natural gas plays in the plan that we have. Is it a significant role?
Yeah. First of all, we had a few years, I think 2.5 years, again, the pleasure to buy the whole gas business from MOL, the old Hungarian gas and oil company. I don't know if this was a good decision or a bad decision, but it means that we are the main supplier of Hungary by gas. There are, in the meantime, more players, but MOL and we as successor of MOL are the main supplier. The gas comes from Russia, so this means my company has all the long-term contracts with Gazprom or Gas Export, the Russian company. We had no problems to supply the country till now in a competitive and secure way. And we are proud that we can do it, and we even could bridge the crisis not only with our supplies in Hungarian gas, we call the company E.ON Földgáz, yeah, because we are in the context and in the complex of E.ON Ruhrgas, which is our main gas supply company for Europe. And being member of this group, we were able to put gas in the crisis also from other sources than the Russians to keep it to keep Hungary in a safe gas haven. But the business is not very profitable.
Let's do one quick, this gentleman's had his hand up several times.
No, go ahead. You mentioned about how it's very hard to raise funds for clean energy technology. Well, the geopolitical, does it implement a certain trading of carbon emissions where certain companies can see credits for having less carbon emissions and certain companies for having more? Is there any way, since you can make a trading network around the world where trading carbon emissions can increase funds for certain companies that, such as E.ON or any other company around the world?
Yeah, let's say these are two questions. The one is the renewables, and the other is the carbon trading. Yeah? Let's say the carbon trading is the core of everything concerning CO2, going into a CO2 free or into a CO2 reduced energy world. And we have it already in Europe. It's for the time being more national set up than European set up. We all know that we need a European-wide, unified carbon trading system. And at the end of the day, we need a worldwide one, because CO2 is not a Hungarian problem, it's not a Connecticut problem, it's not a German problem, it's the problem of the whole planet. And therefore, we are asking for and we are calling for to have a unified worldwide carbon trading in, let's say, according to the same rules, because it's a question of competition. And if I look at my company, we take this global issue already quite serious, because the renewables, which are carbon free, we are investing worldwide already. We have invested 6 billion euro, and we have bought, even in the United States, significantly shares in wind parks, which are carbon free. Renewables as such, we also need despite of the trading issue, we need, let's say, a subsidy system, which is country by country, and let's talk only about Europe, this is easier for me, which is in Europe also unified, because if it is not unified and every country has its own, it's touching the competition in between the companies which are acting in Europe. But the lady from Bavaria wanted to ask, and she was assisting me so intensively. So.
Okay, then I'll just ask a simple question for you, Mr. Kreuzer. What I would be interested in, consumption patterns of users are probably very different all around the world. So, particularly in Europe, what distinguishing characters of consumers or consumer usage patterns can you see, like between Hungary and Germany?
Oh, I have to come again and to make a lecture on culture. There are not so many differences. No, because the consumers are very easy people, and I know it because I'm a consumer as well. And even simple, we want to have secure energy at the lowest possible price, and if we get that, we are totally satisfied, and even we are prepared to bill if the prices are low enough. And this is everywhere.